Hello, and welcome back to another fabulous episode of Nostalgia Pile. Last week we were tasked, or last week I say. It's been a few weeks for us, but probably like a week for you guys.
It's been 3 weeks.
Yes, it's been a long time for us. But we were going to review Birdie Season 2 and Serial Experiments Lain. But I told the guys I don't think that we can split this episode. So today we're just going to talk about Lane.
Yeah, we need to kind of just sit back and talk about what the hell Lane is.
Yeah.
It's
a lot.
It's an interesting one.
It was definitely a lot.
Yeah. First and foremost, hi. We are your hosts. I am Klidge Radio.
I am Cameron and a Killjoy.
I am Jordan, aka Kitsune. Yeah, it's been 3 weeks for us, and we had rolled the wheel, and it landed on Lane to Cameron's delight, and we watched it, and it was fucking insane. It was insane because you feel insane watching it.
Yeah.
So I did an experiment. I think I told you about this. I did an experiment with that show for a little bit. In that I took the sound of power cables. Yeah. And I just started playing it midway through one of my streams, and the amount of people in my chat who were like, "Turn that fucking thing off! My head is like bleeding." It was so many people. I'm just like, this is what we're gonna call the Lane experience.
Mm-hmm. This is the
Because
Lane
wires,
experiment.
they talk to you.
You know,
Yeah.
I loved all of the sound design in Lane. Just to start, since we're talking about the power cables, there are so many just different sounds, and like the chalkboard. Like anytime the chalkboard was like being, written on by the teacher at the front, I was like, please stop writing on the chalkboard. Something is about to be revealed. The power cables every time she walks outside, and I'm like, is someone going to get electrocuted, or is something else going to be revealed? I love the club scenes also. Why are there like 14-year-olds at clubs? Like, no one was like, huh?
Couldn't
Nobody? Nobody said, hey, why are those kids here?
They fuck the 14-year-olds. There's like two fucking 10-year-olds at the club smoking cigarettes, and everyone's just like,
dude, the whatever the fuck that music they were playing in that club was bumping also. Yeah. Like they were going crazy.
I love that aesthetic.
Oh
yeah,
man.
the music they chose for this show is it's something else.
It's close to almost not music. But before we get too heavy into the little tidbits, let's just go overall, go around and do like a general. How was your experience watching this show for the first time, and then Cam again?
Let's quickly ask Cam, how many times have you seen this show?
Yeah.
This makes twice all the way through.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
So
okay.
not too bad. I watched it once 8 years ago.
Yeah.
10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
And then I did like half a watch through a couple of years after that. And every once in a while I'll watch an episode or two. This is my first time really sitting down and finishing it again.
I'm sorry. You pick up an episode of this show and like, okay, that's just what I needed, and then you like walk away.
Yeah, like the first
This show?
The first like 2-3 episodes. I love
There
it.
are too many. There's too much. Like,
I love the vibes of the first couple episodes.
there's so much non-context. I mean, the first episode alone is freaky, man. It's freaky. But let me go first, and then I'll go around the horn here. But so my experience with this show was, well, Cam forced me to watch an episode one night just to start, and I watched it with him. And the first thing that stuck out to me was and we've talked about this already, but the sound presentation makes you have anxiety. Like you're walking into something I've never experienced before, and I know it's supposed to be weird, but there's no justice done there when I'm sitting there listening to the freaking power cables and the almost lack of a soundtrack and a chalkboard and listening to a late 90s dub, right? Which is already a little uncanny. The dub
It's
isn't
not bad, though.
also.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
I strongly disagree. I did not like the dub.
Really?
I thought oh my god. I thought it was like the peak of like, okay, we're just starting out like anime and we're trying to figure out like how to like kind of do it. And it's you could hear the people reading off a script. It's just like,
I mean, there's some notable people
it
in
helps
there,
that like
you know.
it helps that there's like 5 lines an episode, so they don't have much to read.
That's true.
It's like,
I mean, there's
I
some
think-
I
I think for me, that adds to the dub of this show because everybody's so disconnected and disjointed character-wise. Nobody knows what the fuck they're doing in the show. Everybody is just like deadpan. So I think that kind of delivery makes sense.
I mean, I can see it's supposed to not be have too much emotion. I know that Lane's voice actor has been in a lot of stuff, but I cannot remember her name for the life of me. But there were some performances that I was like, oh, okay. Like one of the Men in Black is Jameson Price, and he's like, he's done quite a few roles. I'm pretty sure he's Spiral King, and he's also Sojiro from Persona 5. He was to me, a standout voice actor. Like every time he says anything, I'm like, oh shit, that's really good. But overall, I still didn't think the dub was that bad, you know? Like he was, or I think that they did a decent job trying to capture the vibe. The vibe is obviously weird and none of it is straightforward, and you're constantly skipping context for the sake of like telling the story and leaving you in the dark. So what they did with that was fine. I don't think it's really about the way they were delivering lines. I think it was just like the overall, did they capture this character the way they were kind of meant to? Like the dad, anytime the dad talked, I wanted to listen. Anytime Lane talked, I was like, what the fuck is going on? I don't know what she's talking about, because she would be like, I understand. And I'm like, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Again, every time they're just like, I get it now. I understand. I just like want to put my middle finger up to the camera, just like, bitch.
I thought Alice's character was captured well, as far as like, you know, everyone has that every anime has that friend character. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I want you to hang out with me. That kind of thing. But outside like my initial thoughts of like, okay, it's presented well, it's making me anxious, it's making me feel the mystery. After that, it was kind of like that the whole time. In the sense that you don't know what's going on pretty much till the last episode, and even then, if you weren't paying attention as hard as I was paying attention, there was some shit that just went straight over your head. From the Bridget Hoffman. She was
Ilya.
Yeah, Ilya and
fucking Ilya from Fate. That's
Fate,
crazy.
Yeah, she did a pretty good job. But yeah, you kind of are thrown into this world, and everything seems normal on the surface, as it always does, but the first episode kind of sets the precedent that like, hey, the internet is here, guys. We're in the age of the internet. It's time to just get online and stay online. But it gets dark real fast, and after that, you're kind of just left to your. I mean, like it is up to interpretation on how you want it to interpret it. There is a very loose plot, but you are kind of lost on this journey, in my opinion. I didn't feel like I understood just about anything up to the last few moments of the end of it, and even then, I was just like, "What? Where am I going? Like, where is this headed? Why is this happening to this girl? Who is this girl? Who are these people that want her? And why is she so good at the internet, but also not good at the internet. Like, I was just confused. And not to say I didn't enjoy my experience, I was just like, what the fuck is going on every episode, every single one? But I'll pass it to you now, Klidge. You tell us what you thought.
Well, okay, just kind of on that, just the thing with it is like every episode, it's always just a new like what the fuck is happening, because you'll go like, okay, all this crazy shit will happen. Some dude will like, I don't know, fall into a ditch and die after his Google Glass got corrupted, and then it cuts to the next episode and it's just Lane like waking up and eating breakfast and going to school. It's just like completely disjointed, does not bother to care about what happened the previous episode. So I mean, I want to say that I liked Lane. I enjoyed Lane. I think I liked Lane. I don't know if like is the right word, though. I'm fascinated by Lane.
Yeah.
That's fair.
That makes any sense.
Like,
So
I'm all for a good, like mind, basically, like a mind fuck or whatever, and it's like, hey, did you think about this in the context of this, or what this could possibly mean, and the implications of this action, and oh, did you see that little tiny scene where her eyes went to the right and then the left? Did that make sense to you? Like, I'm all for stuff like that, but this one was just like so loose and hard to follow that I don't want to say it gets in the way of enjoying it, but there's definitely some obstacle there where if you're not paying attention or you're not as dedicated, like this isn't let me put this on and let me just occasionally watch. It's like, if you just watch this shit out of context, which honestly is the entire show, you will learn nothing. It gain nothing. Like, it's trying to make you think, but if you're not thinking, then fuck you, essentially.
this is like the epitome of the Adult Swim anime that comes on at like 3 a.m. and you wake up in a cold sweat. You hear the wires like buzzing, and then you're just like, I don't know. You just see like an anime girl standing there. Like, I don't know. I had the thought partway through, like, this is like the perfect like anime to see in the background of a movie, because there's so much like that's happening that you can just tell that like, okay, they're watching something. It's almost like a fake show in that sense.
Yeah, and
at least just like with the presentation.
It's one of those shows where when you go into it, like if you look at like, I was watching it on Anywave. Each episode has a comment section.
Ah, okay.
Just about every single episode, if you go to the comment section, it is full of people being like, why am I watching this? Why do I keep forcing myself to watch this? It makes no sense. And then there's one guy on every single episode who posts 4 or 5 paragraphs of him explaining everything in minute detail.
You mean the GOAT?
Yeah.
The GOAT, baby.
And he's like
the author.
He's bringing up all of like the conspiracy theories about it, all of the fan theories, what he thinks actually is like happening, and just condenses it.
Like, we need that, though.
Do you have those by chance?
Not
I
on me.
screenshotted every single one.
I can find them later though.
That would be nice.
Gotcha.
Because I got to the end and I was like, okay, someone explain what the fuck was going on. And somebody's like, okay, so here's the loose plot. Because there's only like technically, I guess, 4 or 5 key episodes that really tell you what is happening. And then the rest is kind of like, yeah, this is just, I mean, it's core to the plot, but you could have missed this and still understood.
The story would have made sense.
Yeah, like it still would have made sense, because like I said, there's a lot of stuff that's like open to interpretation. I'm trying to think of an episode but I can't think of it because they all kind of meld together at the same time as well.
They do.
Because Cam was talking to me, he's like, dude, I love the melancholy of episode 10. And I'm like, what the fuck was episode 10 about?
Episode 10 is the one that opens up with the 12-minute guitar solo.
No, that's 11. I know that one for a fact, because I was like, oh, a recap.
I have a note on my phone that episode went hard as fuck.
When that happened,
that recap.
When that
episode,
happened,
fuck.
I just like, it was like, I don't know, it was like 11 o'clock last night. That came on and my eyes glazed over. It's just like,
Yeah.
What is happening?
So,
Like them recapping over a guitar
Eps-
solo is actually insane. Like, just
Insane.
let's take the
Yeah.
vibe and say fuck the vibe. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
yeah, episode 10 is the one where Elaine is kind of walking around and realizing that she doesn't exist
Yeah.
anymore and coming to terms with that.
And then that is just also there's how was I supposed to know that? Because in that episode, she's like she's coming to terms with it, and she's like, also, holy fuck, they did not explain what happened to the sister at all. I'm sorry, because that episode is about
So
her family, right? Or like her
I
family technically
have
doesn't exist.
An idea.
'Cause-
But
I'd like
what
to
do you-
yeah,
hear
I would
it.
love to hear your theory.
I want
Yeah.
to hear what you have to say.
Well, I was just saying
okay,
that.
so
Oh, okay, go ahead.
all right, so from my loose understanding of the plot, I kind of have this idea that a lot of the show, one of my interpretations of the show is that there's two yous in the world at any given time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the you, like the you, and then there's the you who you are online. And those two people, more often than not, are not the same person.
Yeah.
So, the way how you act online versus the way that you act in person are vastly different. And so, like, I don't know, Lane acts like a fucking, like, kingpin online, but in real life, she acts like teddy bear girl. So, you know, it's like that. And so what I think happened to the sister is, for whatever reason, she got put into the position where her online self and her real life self were switched, and then her real life self effectively like died, which is why you see that ghost disintegrate in the the doorway. And then because you can't be half of a person, her brain kind of more or less stopped working. So essentially, she killed a part of herself died, and so that killed the other part of herself to a degree, effectively making her brain dead. Does that make any
Which
sense?
is insanely. I mean, it makes sense, but it's
Yeah.
such a reach from the show's perspective that, like, oh, she just died because her online. Like, you can't separate yourself, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, in the context of the show, maybe you can't because of like how it's the world building is set up, right? There's the wired, and then there's the real world, and they're trying to make a bridge and all this shit because there are technically two versions of everybody in the world, but we're gonna rid that. We're gonna get rid of the bridge. But I'm like, in a real life interpretation, I was just like, what's the doctor's name? Not the kid's
Phil.
doctor, but the Masumi Phil?
Dr. Phil.
Masumi Eri. He talks about giving at the very end. He talks about giving Lane her ego or her ego or whatever.
Yeah.
Not the
Ego.
waffle, but you know.
The fact that they
ego.
called it ego made me want to fucking
Ego,
scream at my,
yeah.
at my monitor.
I was kind of mad too, and I was just like, I guess I'll say ego since that's what he said. But
No.
giving her ego, which is like, what, her perception of self? Is that what it is? Your perception of, there's
Essentially.
like the id, the something, and the
Okay,
ego, and I can't remember
so
what
actually,
the middle one is.
Yeah.
I had to research this for a video recently. Id.
Mm-hmm.
So let me break this down. Welcome to Psychology Corner with Klidge. That's PKK in case you're curious. So you have your id, which is your base animal instinct, which is okay. So the way how I like rationalize this for a video was there's a cheesecake in front of you. Your id
Yes.
tells you, okay, I'm gonna just eat the whole damn thing because cheesecake tastes good. Me like cheesecake,
Yes.
me eat cheesecake. That's your id. Your super ego, which I'm going to skip ego, your super ego is the part of your brain that tells you, I can't eat this cheesecake because if I do, I'll get fat, and if I get fat, I won't be accepted by society. So I can't eat any of the cheesecake. It's the part of your brain that gives into societal pressure.
Yes.
And then your ego is the part of your brain that says, you can have one slice of cheesecake and no more, and it should be okay. But so long as you also do something else in the future. That's the part of your brain that rationalizes everything to be, like... It allows the id to slip through, but not far enough that, like, your super ego is going to freak the fuck out.
So that's what I was like. That's what I thought that they were getting at that point when they were just like, and that's where I thought the real life implications came in, is where they were kind of trying to rationalize like there's three versions of yourself really: how you're perceived, how you perceive yourself, and then who you actually are, right? I thought that they were trying to talk. I thought that she went. I thought that she had just lost her sense of self in that moment, not necessarily that she went like brain dead, or maybe that it still doesn't make sense because it was just like, it was probably like a 2-minute scene and then she's just that for the rest of her life. They don't ever wrap that up or fix it. It's just, and I'm sitting there like, no one is going to address this. Yeah. And then they do. And then when they do, it's really not even that big of a deal. And I was just like, why is this sister walking around here doing dumb shit or not saying anything at all, just completely turned off, not doing, like, not, they keep showing her, but they never talk about it. I was like, is that supposed to be some allusion to she's just no longer there, technically? Because her ego is now in the wired, and if we become so, and I don't know, if we become so used to being online, will we eventually just make ourselves our online personas or something? I couldn't make sense of it. It was very,
So
I don't know.
with her sister, what I think happened is because Lane is essentially in an experiment throughout the whole show. Right? Her family isn't real. It's not her real family. Sister, mom, dad, all of them are there from ID's company, however the fuck you say his name. Mika in like episode 5 was starting to become really curious about what the fuck Lane was doing with the Wired, right?
But she knows that she's part of an experiment. The sister does.
Kinda, yeah, but she's a kid. You know, she
more
stupid.
curious than the other
High
ones,
schooler.
yeah. She is a high schooler also, which is even more impulsive.
And I think she accidentally gets caught in the merging of like the real and the wired world when she tries to connect to the wired. And as a result of that, her subconscious mind disconnects from her current body, which just leaves her as like a fucking like fax machine, essentially. Just a human-shaped fax machine. Her brain just disconnected because it got caught in the merger, essentially.
Where is the...
So she doesn't exist in the real world or the Wired at that point.
Like, where is the explanation for this except the guy in the comments? It is so
he could just be pulling shit out of his ass too. That's just an interpretation.
I mean, that is
That's
exactly
the
what I'm
beauty of
saying.
it. That's why this show is insane. Is because just like they don't tell you shit.
Well, I think it was
Let you deal.
to give a little more context. I think it's because ID. How do you say his name?
How do you spell
Which
it?
one? Masumi?
Yeah. Okay. Masumi.
Eddie. That's what I was saying.
Okay.
It's like E-I-R-I.
Yeah. Okay. So he essentially, because he's the one controlling that merger. He's the one that wants it to happen.
Yeah.
Lane is the stepping stone for him to be able to do that completely, but we don't know what he's capable of at this point. Very common theory is that he causes Mika to go insane so that he can control her, right?
Yeah.
Because he uses her to plant the device that sabotages Lane's Navi when it blows up in like episode 7 or 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, the cooling unit.
Yeah. I think that's what it was he purposely kind of wiped her mind so he could use her for that. And then after that, she's just rotting, essentially.
That's so terrible.
Like, she doesn't do anything after that.
Yeah, it's just awful. Jeez, bro. That's terrible, man. Masumi is an absolute bitch, honestly, the entire time.
Elon Musk.
Oh, my God. Stop.
Like I said, this show's way too much of it is way too close to home nowadays.
It's like
This
everybody
Elon
thinks
Musk
it's
real
shows
series.
up if that man shows up and says we're going to connect to the wired, I'm going to start a riot.
He already did, bro. He's starting Neuralink. If you don't think that
Yeah.
uses like some sort of internet or Wi-Fi or Bluetooth
I'm gonna
connectivity,
hack into his Neuralink and upload 20 terabytes of furry hentai.
oh
Of
jeez,
lane static.
Oh yeah. What a
20
fate
terabytes
worse
of
than
just
death.
audio files.
A looping
Terrible.
file of.
That's terrible. Yeah, I mean, it definitely was one of those where I was just like, man, I'm glad. No. Like, we made rocks think, but we're not trying to get into the rocks. You know what I'm saying? We're like, not gonna, we're never, I don't think that we'll transcend anything like that.
Well,
Cause,
I'm sure
Yeah,
glad
it
this will
just-
never happen.
yeah, no, I'm
Type of
super glad
shit.
it'll never happen. Yeah, man, fuck that. I was like, also, think about it. Think about who was in charge. They think about it. Between the Knights and the Tachibana, like, agents and shit, they were letting rich people control us and fucking gamers. Which one do you want to control you?
Well, I mean,
Neither.
they're gonna hate black people regardless with that mindset. So I don't know
That's
if we want any
fair.
of that.
Exactly. You think I want to bring my black ass into the internet? Shit, I can't even be black on the internet without being called any sort of thing out loud. You know what I'm saying? I can't separate I would love to, but I can't. It's like how it is. It's just it is what it is, right? But I'm like that it definitely did hit really close to home in that regard. Like there was just like too much of it was these parasocial relationships. The parasocial relationships for me were just like the worst shit ever. Everybody being super comfortable with each other, just talking about whatever the fuck they want to talk about. The information that you could get from strangers that Lane gets towards the end is just like absurd.
Well, the fact that like the people who she ends up talking to the most are children and they know all of this shit is such
Yes.
an on the nose weird thing that they predicted was going to happen. Like say what you want about modern day internet or whatever, but like the amount of bored kids with Google out there who are just like spending their time right now just finding out all of this shit and then dispersing like all over the place, just like huh.
Oh yeah. Yeah, basically the
fucking
kids in the club were so central to to her learning about what the fuck was going on. It was pretty insane. Well,
big
at least
fan.
Taro. Taro was a
Yeah.
dog, bro. He was a dog. Bro
Dog
said,
He was.
DOG.
bro said, I'm a guy. What did you expect? You know, I just had to try it.
Yeah.
Lane's
He's
so
wild.
disinterested by this, bro. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
But I do want to talk about Lane as a character. As far as the show goes, like, I think the show is just like,
well, we skipped Cam's whole thing.
oh yeah, Cam. Yeah, tell me.
Huh?
Tell me what
Tell you
you. I
what.
mean, like you watched it already, and you kind of gave us an idea of what to expect. But watching it again, how did you feel about it? How did you feel about it?
I like it a lot. Obviously, I mean it's one of my favorite anime. Sorry, I'm gonna keep this a little short because of the tooth
Yeah.
thing.
You're good.
I totally understand why people drop this show a lot. I totally understand why some people just cannot finish it, or some people come out the other end and they're like, I don't get it, I don't like it. You're so valid for that. But this is one of those shows where I'm like, in my mind, if you are an anime fan beyond just watching, you know, My
Fighting
Hero,
shonen.
because your friends like it, yeah. If
Yeah.
you are an anime fan beyond just the bare minimum, what's popular, you should try this once.
Yeah.
Because there is so much in this show that goes on to inspire a lot of other shows, a lot of other artists, and it's, like I said, it's really just kind of on the nose the whole time towards what we deal with nowadays.
Okay, I was gonna say I don't know if there's a lot of ways I would describe Blaine. Saying that it's on the nose, as in it's very upfront and very blatant about what it's trying to get across. It's just like
Well, I'm saying
No. Well,
he's saying
with
that you
its-
can interpret.
Yeah, yes,
things in
yes,
our
the theme.
Time.
The-
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
but
the-
yeah.
With its
theme,
themes,
yes.
it's very on the nose.
Yeah.
On the plot, not so much.
Yeah.
Because the themes are religion and our relationship with the internet
Technology, yeah.
and how we display ourselves on each side, and then also the divide of that. Like, those are the big three themes.
I don't know what that
Yeah.
means, brother.
Those are easy to pick up, but the plot is not.
Yeah. Between well, not between anything, but the theological discussion was just very. I felt like it was always the subsurface is like, or very under the surface. But it was right there. It's just like, what gives us the right to do any of this? Like, what gives us the right to be like, let's transcend death, essentially. And
Well, it's like how
who gets to decide who lives and who dies, kind of thing.
I mean, exactly.
Rich
So it's
people
like how
and the
Masumi-
gamers.
Yes, that's true.
Masamu's like,
Gamers.
I'm God. I am God.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make you do this. And she's like, why? Who says you can do that? Who says you are God? Your followers that are dead?
The ones I just had
And you, no one
killed.
knows you're here. So how are you a God if no one knows about you?
Also,
And then he just loses his mind.
I hated the thought of I've been playing. Okay, so I thought this was interesting because there's a similar theme in. I hate to say this because I'm a gamer, but I've been playing Stellar Blade.
Oh man,
Yeah,
love Shift Up, great company, fat asses
Yeah.
all around. What the fuck? Okay,
but there's a theme of like your memories, the memory of who you are and the legacy you leave, and all of that determines if you ever existed. And I was like, fuck. It's like there will come a time to pass where, like, you think about people in history that we are like, these are historical figures, and that we talk about all the time, and that we have essentially immortalized through our collection of information and the passing down of that to further generations of humans, right? And you think about everybody who died in between those important quote unquote people, and you're like, I can say that they existed, but I cannot remember who they are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, we are so small and insignificant, and we all think that we're bigger than we actually are, but no one's gonna know who we are. Like, you know, maybe people will know who you are within your family, but eventually that's even lost to time. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not actively thinking about or honoring our ancestry like that.
Have you ever? This is okay. English teacher time. Have you ever read the poem Ozymandias?
I think I have actually read that. I do not remember anything of
It's
it. But
it's
I have read
incredibly
it.
short. So what's essentially it's about is there's a scientist or an explorer, what have you. There's a guy who's out in the desert researching Egyptian tombs, and he comes across the ruins of a once opulent Egyptian like palace and a massive statue before it that is now reduced to nothing but like the feet on the pedestal. And then it says it says something along the lines of like, gaze upon my works, ye mighty, and despair, and there's nothing there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just like with it's essentially the same thing. With the passage of time, everything just goes away. Doesn't matter how big of a figure you are right now. The moment that you die and can no longer continue to make a name for yourself.
Yeah.
But what if
Yeah,
instead
like-
you could upload your conscience to the internet?
And live forever.
What if
Immortality.
we experimented on pigs first and put them into the internet for space bacon?
See, that's fucking crazy though, man, because there that and then, you know, that discussion, I feel like that's like what is that? That's like a philosophical discussion that then goes back to theological, you know, roots where, like, you think about who was it who wrote the Proverbs? Did Solomon write the Proverbs? Or was it David?
Lots of people wrote
think it was-
Proverbs.
Well, I'm talking about Hebrew, you know, Judeo-Christianity.
No, I know.
I'm
I
trying to
think multiple people wrote them.
Multiple people wrote them. Okay, I'm trying to think of one,
sure,
like
yeah.
the main guy. I think it was Solomon. I'm
Well, I
assuming
think Jesus
it was Solomon.
wrote, or Jesus didn't write, but Jesus told a bunch of proverbs.
Well, those are parables that he told.
Parables,
but I'm talking
that's
about
the
like
word.
Old Testament. I think Solomon was one of the main writers of. It could have been Song of Solomon or Proverbs, but basically he's just like, there's nothing new under the sun. Everything will turn to ash. Why do we do anything? Existence is futile. Like, and he says that while, worshiping this God, but understands his humanity is, eventually, like, he's basically trying to tell you is like, there's nothing to worry about. We're all going to die the same. We came into this world the same. We're all going to die the same, and everyone will forget us eventually.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there just
It's
like,
so-
dude, so fucked. Like, but
It's
it's
so
a good,
interesting.
comforting thing too. I don't
Is
know.
it? And that's
It's
the
a
thing
little
about that.
comforting.
Is like that can be either interpreted as incredibly comforting, being like, oh, where it's going to be okay because we all go through it, or
Yeah.
oh fuck, there's no escape. Like take your
Yeah,
pick your side.
It's our
Depends on the type
shared
of person you are.
experience, though. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, it's our shared experience. I can see, like, I think about it sometimes from a perspective of, like, there's so much I want to accomplish, but I don't really have do I have all the time to give to it, especially with the responsibility I have? But that might just be because of the society I live in, right? But at the end of the day, I'm sitting there like, I mean, whatever comes to pass will come to pass, and there's nothing much I can do about it. And whether I live or die under the greater, I guess, goal of humanity, which is, I guess, I don't even know what that is because we don't really have a collective goal. But in that, in our grand population and shit like that, I mean, I was one of them, and I will die one of them, just like they will die just like me.
Okay, but
All these rich people will die just like me. They can't take their money with them. They can do whatever they're gonna do. But
God damn if the Egyptians didn't try, though. I respect the hell out of that.
they did
Those
try.
motherfuckers put
They
as much
did.
treasure and shit with them. Like,
Holy
I'm
shit,
taking it, and y'all can't touch it.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, no, okay. The fact that this show brought up Roswell, the Majestic 12, and the collective unconscious, both
Shit, bro.
massive things into like esotericism and occultism and
Yes.
like all of that shit out of nowhere, really. It's just like
Just a random ass
okay.
needle drop, dog.
Yeah, like, okay. Collective unconscious, I can see that making sense into this. Right?
Yes.
Because it fits in. I really like the idea. Like, that's a fascinating idea that the Earth is a living creature. And then, like, humans essentially function as brain cells that then all connect to each other, which allows the Earth to come alive, as it should be. But then they brought in Roswell and had a Gray dressed up as Freddy Krueger show up not once but twice. One time with Lane's face, and then it's never addressed.
What the fuck? Yes.
It's never addressed.
Thank you for bringing that up, Klidge. Cam, what the fuck
I was
is
gonna
going
ask.
on?
What y'all thought about that?
I was sitting there like, okay, there's some imagery. But he was standing outside her motherfucking door. He was there. And then she's like, I'm in Alice's memories now, or Alice's house. Let me dress up as this alien. Maybe it's supposed to be like an allusion to her being, quote unquote, alien to humanity.
so
I guess.
I believe
no,
that
I think so.
the
Okay.
alien is a symbol for how, like, when Lane is being the distant observer of everything, just silent in the background. 'Cause that's how Greys have always been shown in media,
Yeah.
right? You get all the little clips of Greys peeking around corners and stuff, which is exactly what they do. Which is what Lane's wired personality has been doing the whole time. Which is why, like with Alice,
Yeah.
when they're, the rumor of her wanting to sleep with the teacher comes out, it was Lane,
was fucking
her
wild, by
wired
the way.
persona,
That shit came out of nowhere
watching,
too.
observing, because she's everywhere. That's the thing with the wired, is she can be anywhere she wants to be, around anyone she wants to be.
At any time.
Yeah, at any time. And I think that's what the Gray was supposed to symbolize.
I mean,
Why was he dressed as Freddy Krueger?
I don't know.
See,
why not?
What symbolism is that? Unless it's supposed to be like he's in your dreams.
I mean,
which is a layer maybe a little bit too deep. I might just be speculating, but like that.
It was such a weird bit. It was very like, what the fuck, bro? Like I was okay with the alien, but then she's like dressed in it. Also, her proportions in that, like the way they draw her, it's so fucked. You're just like, what is she?
What is? It's just that whole sequence is just like, what is happening? Why is this 14-year-old trying to sleep with their teacher? Why is this then also rewarded at the end of the anime?
Shit, yeah.
I also think that there's a possibility. I think this is just like a theory I heard a long time ago that Masumi and like his scientific team that created the Wired may have taken some of that technology from the aliens that crashed in Roswell.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole that's a real world theory. Did you guys know that?
That our hyper evolution is based on a reverse engineering of technology that does not originate on Earth.
All right, this is where I'm going to get into like this is where you learn a lot about me as a person.
Oh, here we go.
So there's a whole conspiracy theory that right now humanity is in contact with aliens. And that we trade technology with them in exchange that they get to abduct and experiment on people, which is where alien abductions come in, and it's why the government like doesn't really put too much like shit into it, but like they think, yeah, that's where we got microwave technology and Wi-Fi, because right now we're evolving technologically way faster than we should, and it all happened after Roswell happened. So there's a whole idea behind that that's just like, the aliens, they're giving us stuff.
But it's so interesting because the government doesn't give a fuck about us, so why would they share it? They're like, oh, we can make money off of it. We can make money off of it. Yeah, and then we react this way, and then now they're like, oh my god, these gooners are going crazy about Stellar Blade, drop the EMP over us, right? Right? Do it. Yeah, do it.
Well, there's a whole other thing that like the aliens are giving us technology that they know is going to hurt us because they know that we're stupid monkeys who can't control our emotions.
I mean, and that's
so they're just like, let's just fuck with them. Let's just fuck with them. We're not
evolved enough for this shit. That's why I'm like, so the only thing we should just take social media away. If we take that away, we're good. We're golden.
I've been saying that for years now. That social media is just like it's the death of society. Because we're not mentally mature enough as a species to be able to handle mass communication anytime. The fact that you can argue with Taro and you are like the teacher from Lane is bad.
Yeah.
It's a lot. The show is a lot. It's why I wanted you guys to watch it, because we're 45 minutes into this talk.
We still got more to say.
And we've barely watched. We've already touched the plot.
And the plot is non-existent in a different way, but there is a plot. If I can, I will explain the plot, quote unquote. Okay.
Once you do that, can I go through the notes I took during this? Because there's something else.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so I believe the plot starts with this idea. Okay, so Masumi Eri is this crazy scientist who's like, I want to transcend humanity into this the Wired, which is just I'm assuming it is like a plane of existence. If all of humanity can be the same, like essentially VR chat.
Yeah, it's VR chat.
If we can do wavelength, like he said that. The Earth is a living thing, and if we can get humanity all in the same wavelength using the internet, we can finally. And I guess he wanted to create a hive mind. I'm not sure, and be the god of the hive mind. I'm really not sure on that. But they do all of this discussion about how Roswell happened, and all of these government officials came together, and Masumi Eri gets his hands on that technology. Ascends himself, becomes a god of this world he's created, essentially, and is getting people to go in there. He needs Lane as a stepping stone. I'm not sure exactly for what reason, but I believe that Lane was part of the kids' experiment that one doctor worked on, right? And he basically, Lane was one of the basically Esper shit, like Stranger Things 11, like, oh, she can transcend this and make it a reality that we can get into the Wired, and they need her as the catalyst.
Yeah, with that, I think Heidi was the one that stole the research materials and created her from that.
What?
Yeah, because remember, they said Lane is a piece of software.
Yeah,
that's why she's not
hardware.
real.
That's right.
Yeah, she's not a physical being. She's
a hologram.
She's a program. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fucking weird. But anyway, I guess that shit happens, and they are just watching Lane become whatever because they wanted to watch her. They wanted to watch her evolve, I guess, right then and there. And then when she's finally introduced to her Navi, she becomes increasingly, like, she's hyper evolving, I guess, really, really quickly. And then there's just so much bullshit that you got to get through to even get to this point where you can say this definitively. But I think that Alice was the one person in the whole show that saw Lane as a human being and not a program, or like she's a person, like a real life breathing human person. And
because everybody else either ignores her, or when they talk to her, they're like, I like the Wired you better. I recognize the Wired you, but not you.
And Alice sees her for who she is, and then basically the other Lane, who is like the Wired Lane before Lane becomes, who she is now at the end of the show, apparently leaks that Alice had the crush on that teacher. And then Alice, and there's a weird little scene there, and then Lane is really hurt by that fact that the other Lane had basically fucked up her relationship with the only other person who cares about her, and she goes to make it right, and using her new powers she resets the memories of all of humanity, so everybody on that wavelength that has I guess it has been slowly building up. I was like, how does everyone on the fucking internet? Everybody? But I was like, whatever. Whatever.
It's because she's the bridge between the collective humankind consciousness.
So she can just do that. Got it.
She Control-F deleted Lane in all of the people's brains document.
Yeah. So except Alice.
The reason the Wired Lane can't do that is because that's the original program.
Got it.
This Lane is that bridge.
Gotcha.
This is a physical Lane at the time who is connected to both ends.
Gotcha. And so that happens, and it's Alice is the only person who remembers, and while that's nice, Alice is like, I can't help but think that was super cruel. I mean, I know she didn't think it was super cruel, but she had to say I didn't. It's it sucks for me to be the only person that remembers. And then Lane is trying to comfort her. And then eventually it becomes Alice comforting Lane, because Lane is pretty much ready to give up because she's fucked up so much. And then Masumi Eri comes out of nowhere.
Fucking
and
God shows up.
And then God shows up, and he's like, you need to get her to kill herself too and come to the Wired. And then Lane is like, absolutely not. This is and they share a hug, which is really nice. And then Lane is like, absolutely not. This is the one person who sees me for me. So I'm going to do whatever I can to protect her. I don't want to give up I don't want her to give up her body. I don't want to give up my quote unquote body to further your goals. And who gets to decide anything? And why do you think you're God? Shit, I could be God. And I was like, oh shit, she's about to fuck shit up. And then Masumi does the dumbest shit ever and decides to he starts to form a physical body, which is like the dumbest shit he could possibly do. And then Lane becomes the Esper that I was talking about, and like she takes a bunch of shit and kills him.
Yeah,
and
she
you're
just says, "You should kill yourself."
Yes, now, and he dies there, quote unquote. And then, but Alice is traumatized, I guess, and so Lane is just like, I keep fucking up.
Understandably so.
I'm just gonna. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's fair. She just saw a weird ass creature materialize out of nothing, and so you're kind of like, what the fuck? And Lane is basically like, I'm so tired of fucking up. I don't want to hurt anybody. I'm ready to give up myself for, I'm ready to give up
everyone else.
Yeah, for the good of humanity. And she does. And then she's a little alone, and she's like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. Maybe I should, but it was the only thing to do. And then she becomes basically the overseer of the world. But apparently she finds comfort in her fake dad, who then she is like, this must be my father figure / God figure that is going to do the right thing. I don't know. Because everybody keeps saying they love Lane. And I'm like, why?
What happened with that, I think, is okay. So if you want to think about it like this, she did become God.
Yeah.
Because like now she's a silent observer. She can't really manipulate the outside world. I mean, I guess she could if she wanted to, but much like God, not gonna do that shit.
Yeah.
It's gonna kind of hang out and see what y'all do. And yeah, just. She can go to any point in time and anywhere and do anything. I mean, like, realistically, it does set up the potential for a sequel if there was just, like, any bit where she's just, like, grows bored. She's like, okay, I'm willing to go and, like, try something else. Do more Experiments Lain. But I don't think so.
What is this? Some sort of serial Experiments Lain?
Yeah, right.
Question mark.
Yeah. So
can we also talk... One more thing we got to talk about before we're running out of time, at least for this. We can go a little bit over.
Is it her appearing as Buddha in the sky?
It's not about her appearing as Buddha in the sky. It's about fucking Alice at the end ending up with the teacher. What the fuck?
Well, she is a teacher at that point.
Okay, yeah, but what the fuck? Okay, look. All grace given. This was the 90s. In anime, okay, so shit was whatever the fuck, but obviously they viewed it as not a bad thing, but a very like taboo thing to be like, because the teacher thing is a huge like point in Alice's story with Lane, like I just explained.
Yeah, is
it not a little strange that they were like,
it is,
and Alice gets with that teacher, and I'm like, oh, come on guys, like come on now.
This is
just a little weird.
This is the second show now where we've reviewed that involves a 14-year-old girl and an attraction to a male teacher.
This is the fucking... God, dog, you're not wrong. Cam, what the fuck, man?
Listen,
this is your fucking fault. This is your fault.
It's an interesting show.
It's an interesting show, yeah.
The scene where Lane is watching Alice, do whatever.
Yeah.
That was the only scene that was not able to be shown on TV.
Seriously? They don't even show that version?
Wow. Yeah, on the TV version, that is the only thing that's different, is that scene just does not exist.
Wow.
It was released on the home version on like VHS.
Gotcha. It's not like super graphic or anything. It's just kind of like...
The implications are
they're
bad.
Giving you context, yeah. So
they were just like, we don't want to.
Yeah,
we don't think that would go over well.
Yeah. Not much was lost by cutting it, but it does contextualize like how close of a relationship that they had.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also it was a really deeply thought out scene for the creators, because that is kind of when we realize Lane can be anywhere. Can watch anything.
Yeah, and I was like, that's a very
That's a very important,
very
scene
private.
for that.
Yeah, it's because it's a very private fucking moment for any human being, and you would not like that to. Yeah, no one you don't want to walk in on anything like that.
If you walk in on a student and a teacher, either they're gonna kill you or you're gonna kill them, and unfortunately, it's it's a bad situation for everybody.
Yeah, so that was just. I was just like, I'm glad that Alice is happy because I loved her interaction with Lane at the very end. So obviously it's far from the point that it matters that much. I was just like, what the fuck, guys? Come on now.
Well, so another fun fact is basically the only reason that Lane still exists in episode 13 is because Alice is the one that remembers her.
Yeah, I love the scene. Okay, hold on, one more thing. Taro pulls out a motherfucking switch up old 2000s phone that if you pull the trigger on the
that
gun,
shit's hard as fuck.
I was like, that
It's
shit
hard
hard
as
as
hell.
fuck, Taro.
That's hard
What
as
the
fuck.
I said, yo, he's a dog. But I want to say that I thought that was cool that they were like, they remember her. They don't, but they do. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's all that
must have been
collective
nothing.
unconscious shit.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
whatever memories they had repressed because Lane was interfering with them, they still exist, but they couldn't access those memories.
Exactly.
So I was like, that's
And
kind
I
of a
love
nice
that.
touch. Yeah.
There's just so, while the show may not just make sense,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of people saying online that it is just nonsense. Like there's no point in trying to understand it. Like that it's
Media
just
literacy's
gibberish, and it's
dead.
like no,
Media literacy is fucking dead.
Yeah.
like it is a well thought out show with a lot of open endedness where they want you to come to your own conclusions.
Yeah,
Okay.
this
just
is not
just for
brain
the
dead
people
shit.
listening. If you are listening to this, and if it sounds like it has been insanity, well, it's because it has. But this show is one of the ones that you actually have to stop and think about. It doesn't present anything to you as if it's just like easy.
As if it's fact.
As if it's fact, right. So there's
Yeah.
an issue right now, especially with the current generation. I say that, but it's both old people and young people, of an inability to process information that isn't directly like spoon-fed to them. If they don't like get it like told to them, or if they can't find in the immediate like first 5 comments of a fucking like comment section, they're not going to accept whatever information. They're just going to assume it's bad. And I think it's going to be the death of our society.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably, I don't know, even then, like, this has been going on for a long time. It's not that people can't understand shit that's given to them. It's just a lack of critical thinking, which I think is probably the majority of most people nowadays, is not trying to think too hard into anything. And, and that's fine, like, if that's what you want to do. But when
No,
you're trying
it's
to
not
look at a
fine.
piece of media, I mean, it's not fine.
I'm
when you're
just
trying
going
to
to
look.
hard cut. No, that is not fine. If you sit and just
Hey.
coast and take everything for surface level, then you're a fucking idiot.
Okay, that's true. I'm just talking about in media. You should probably think harder about societal issues and things that maybe you want to do with your life, or maybe you question. It's good to ask questions, and I don't think
good
people
to ask
ask enough
questions.
questions or want to, especially when it challenges, like when it's a very challenging thing. I don't understand why, but I can understand wanting. Ignorance is bliss, right?
Yeah.
But with this show, it is begging you. It almost demands of you that you sit the fuck up and think for a second. Like, what could that have possibly meant? And like Cam was saying, there's just an insane amount of ways you can interpret this show. Some of it is on the nose for what's going on today, and some of it is very ambiguous and open-ended and doesn't give you an answer. And that's fucking okay. I left here with more questions. I left off watching with more questions outside of just the plot. But what kind of shit goes on nowadays that is like, close to stuff like this? And we're seeing it, but for the stuff that I couldn't even answer or like find a one-to-one, I mean, like, it's like, shit, fuck. what are we supposed to do about that?
Yeah.
Like, well, there's not much to do.
That's the thing, is like I have gone a long time not recommending this to people because it's Lane, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking, this is not exactly a show that you can just recommend, being like, hey, you should check out Lane. I feel like if you did that, you're kind of a bad friend, or you really, really know the person who you're recommending it to. You know what I mean? This is like the Boku no Pico for mind-fucking people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I want to make my like big final last thought.
Mm-hmm.
If anything that we've said in this has piqued your interest, give it a shot.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if you can stomach finishing it, do it, because you have more to gain than you really have to lose. I mean, how long would it take you to watch this thing front to back?
Nah,
3
I did
hours?
it in 2 days.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it broken up, but I finished
I did too.
5 episodes in like 2 hours. It's really it's a quick watch. It's just a challenging one.
It is, but go into it with like an open mind. Don't get too caught up on the technobabble because it's there to throw you off.
Mm-hmm.
Come to your own conclusions. That's the point of the show. Don't get so caught up on like what is actually happening. What did they actually mean by this? Because that's not the point. It never was. Everything I've said has basically been theories.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Same,
just what's
I mean,
most accepted. You
Same.
know?
Yeah, no, it's that is the beauty of this kind of a show, is like anything that we have said could be right. You know what I mean?
Could be.
Like, it
Doesn't
could
mean
be.
it is.
It could also just be a bunch of bullshit that we're like wishful thinking our way into imagining.
Yeah.
Okay, guys.
Oh,
Well,
no,
there's
hold
one
on.
more thing.
I
you got
need
something?
something important. Okay. Kind of. This is, well, okay. The opening sequence. Like, where they show it every episode, where they have, like, the traffic lights, the car, like, spins out, and, like, the cityscape and all of that. You can hear the horn from Lethal Company in it.
Stop, bro.
I swear to God, go, like, pull that up, go watch that, and just, like, think about that sound, and you'll hear it.
I'll do it right now. If this is bullshit.
I swear to God.
All right, I'm gonna go to episode 2.
Okay.
I'm gonna skip the. All right, going back. All right, show me the. I'm listening.
What is it you're so afraid of?
Do I remember what the
Why don't you take a
Klidge.
closer look?
See? You see?
There is a sound bite in here that sounds like that.
It sounds exactly
It
like
sounds like the second version of the air horn sound. When you press it like a multi.
yeah.
It did. Okay. All right. Shut the fuck up, Klidge.
I heard that and I was like, what the fuck?
Okay.
Right?
Jesus.
Like I said, definitely anybody who seems interested in this, just give it a shot.
Yes.
Last thing. We can all agree that there is just one true fucking opinion about this show. It's not opinion, it's a fucking fact, because it's true. The fucking opening goes so hard.
Oh my
and you
God,
don't
dude.
seem to understand.
Yeah.
God, dog. If y'all like bangers, Duvet by Boa. That shit is a hit.
It hits so
It's
good.
sad. Woo!
Also,
This shit's so hard.
fun fact, the writer of Lane also worked on Danganronpa the animation.
Wow.
Yep. I saw that. I was looking them up to see what else they've done.
What the hell?
This
Which,
is the only
makes-
thing he has like written though, as far as I know.
So
it's not a
okay.
manga. Is it just a straight up serialized? It's just a TV
just
show.
its own thing. Yep.
Wow.
Do you know
so
what
cool.
else he has written? Digimon
Oh,
Tamers.
But
he wrote it, or did he produce it?
It's under his notable works was Digimon Tamers, Chiaki Konaka.
What the fuck, bro?
Yep,
Digimon?
written by Chiaki Konaka.
I mean, I guess it's still on brand.
He has worked
and I
with a
guess-
couple games, but
He's
not a
also
lot.
done Ghost Hound. Never heard of that. Magic Users Club. Never heard of that. Texanology.
Texanalize. Yeah, he wrote.
Texanalize.
Oh, he did create that one. That's on my watch list.
Devil Lady. Oh my.
All right, you motherfuckers.
Hold on. Look at this.
What the hell? Are they sexy? Oh my god. Jesus. Is this a... Oh, it's a sequel to Devil Man. I didn't know they had a Devil Lady. Why haven't they made that one yet? Why don't they remake that
know.
one?
She's got a fat ass for real.
Yo,
Whatever happened to
they
this
were
kind of
tripping back
anime
in the
girl?
day. That kind of anime girl? Well,
Oh, he
the
worked
style
on
changed.
Seraph of the End as well.
That makes sense.
All right, mofos. I'm
All right.
spinning this wheel. We're gonna talk
on.
about whatchamacallit. We're gonna talk about
Birdie.
Birdie season 2 next. And we might, if we get enough time, or if we think we can just knock it out, we'll try to talk about this one on the same day. So, what we got on the list right now, we're gonna probably need to refresh this list after next week. But we got 8686, Evangelion, Somali and the Forest Spirit, The Girl from the Other Side, fucking Flip Flappers, and Monster Girl Doctor.
I thought we replaced Monster Girl Doctor with Girls Last Tour.
Did we? Okay.
I thought we did. If you
Putting
want to
it
keep
back
it
up.
on there because it'd be funny to make y'all watch that, we can. But
God fucking damn it. Okay, I'll put it on here. Are you ready, kids?
aye, aye, Captain.
All right, here we go. 3, 2. Give me something good, baby.
I could hear it spin on your mic.
That's good.
What we get?
We got Girls Last Tour.
Yes. All
We
right.
got Girls Last Tour, guys. It went right over Flip Flappers. Once more.
It landed on Flip Flappers 3 times last time, and you would deny me this.
All right, guys. Well, thank y'all for joining us today. We'll catch you on the next one. We appreciate
All
you
right.
listening, and I'm sure the next one will be pretty good.
Think so.
See ya.
Yeah.
Where can they find
Thank
us,
you,
Jordan?
guys.
Where can we find?
Where can they
where
find
can these
this?
good people find
Oh,
us?
yeah. One more thing. You can find this on Klidge's YouTube channel. I will also be putting this on Spotify. I think that's going to be it right now until I can
Yep.
make sure that I can get it on other platforms. But those are the
Where
ones
they
right
find
now.
you as a person, though?
What would they find me as a person? Oh, okay. Well, they can find me on twitch.tv/Kitsukatu. I do Valorant shit. Sometimes I do, I don't know, random stupid ass games that I play. I try not to play hard games, but those seem to be the most entertaining. And I
You
am
should
thinking
play
about. I
Some
should
more
really
scary
want
games.
more scary games. Yeah, I knew you
I
were
want
going
to
to
see
talk
you
about
play
that.
Alien Isolation.
Oh my
I do
fucking
too.
god, my life will fucking end. I will be so scared. And I'm thinking about building my mini on stream, or my mech. I got a mech.
Oh,
I wanna
hell
put together
yeah.
on stream, I think one day. We'll see. Cam, where can we find you?
Twitch.tv/Anarchy or Twitter.com/Anarchy Killjoy. And I will be streaming more, I promise.
Yeah, we can't wait.
I'm excited for it. I love Cam streams. Love Jordan streams too.
I love streams. I love
And
Klidge
you-
streams. Those get me through my morning at work.
Oh, those are cursed. Those are certainly cursed.
They are cursed. I put them on the my privacy screen.
A good
Yeah,
idea.
I don't always talk in the morning ones, but I'm usually taking my my first break nap at work to it.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, you can find those all that curse stuff on twitch.tv/Klidge Radio. Alternatively, find me on YouTube at it's Klidge. Klidge Radio was taken, Klidge was taken on Twitch because I'm stupid. There's a whole reasoning for that I don't want to get into right now. And then on Twitter, it's at Sventarian. Go follow me there so you can watch me be mad about specifically Fate anime. Watch me go say Emi Ashiro's a little bitch and the community freak the fuck out.
My
All right.
God. Okay. We'll see
Hell
you
yeah.
later. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.